isn't supposed to be any crying in baseball. But we all know that is not true. We also know tears are a normal part of going from friends to lovers, from lovers to spouses, and then trying to decide how to become parents. We have the tears because marriage is hard. It's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. The hard is what makes it great. I am your host, Trevor White, and this is Marriage Stories. All right, welcome back to Marriage Stories. This week, we are joined by Sarah and Allie. Very excited to have you all with us this week.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So as we start every episode here, I would like you to introduce your partner. So who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Allie.
Oh, sure. This is Sarah Costello. I don't know what to say about you. Sarah is a director of technology at San Francisco Day School. We've been together for 6 years. Is that right? Married for 1.5.
Where's Sarah from?
Oh, Sarah's from Branchville, New Jersey. So
Nice.
Opposite coast. I'm
Nice.
from California. I don't know. Sarah's the oldest of 5 siblings.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And she's a thoughtful person. I don't know if that's a good recap. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could go a lot of places with that, but
Right.
those are some things about you.
So you mentioned that she's a director of technology at the school. Outside of doing that, what are some of her other interests or hobbies?
Sarah's a good reader. She can read a lot of books. I'm not a reader, so she likes to read.
Does she then kind of give you the recap, the Spark Notes version of these books she's reading, so you can at least sound informed about them, you know?
Not really. I don't really ask either. Also, she's into a lot of true crime and a lot of mystery books, so that kind of scares me, and I don't to get that in my head. So
not your style.
That's another thing you're into. She's into true crime.
Right, true crime. So true crime, mystery. I remember, doing some research for this pod that Sarah's pretty into podcasts as well. That's a interest of hers. Does she have a favorite podcast?
Oh, my favorite
other than Marriage Stories.
Yeah. No brainer.
Yeah, that's the layup.
My Favorite Murder, is that right?
Yeah, good job.
My Favorite Murder. Yeah, this is a phenomenon, especially among women y'all's age. It's like the hit podcast, I feel like. What's your take on My Favorite Murder, Allie?
It gets in my head too much. I can't listen to it. I also think to be obsessed with murder is a little disturbing to me. I mean, it's it
doesn't disturb you. Does it disturb you with Sarah, but other people being obsessed with murder?
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I guess it's just not something I can take or withhold. I get too into my head about this could happen to me, or if I'm home at night alone, it'll scare me too much.
Right.
So
and that's what's interesting about My Favorite Murder, right? Is that it's it's geared towards women. Lots of younger women like to listen to it, even though, Allie, like you're saying, it's kind of has the potential of having that effect. But that's what Sarah's into. Murder.
I feel like I need to defend my
Sarah, your turn to talk is coming up here.
Okay,
Don't worry.
okay.
Any other hobbies or interests outside of the macabre here?
Traveling. Sarah really likes to travel. She's been to a lot of different countries, trying to check off all 50 states. So traveling is a big hobby of hers.
How's she doing on the states? What are we at? Are we in the 20s?
Oh, I wish I knew. I want to say you're in the 30s for states.
40s.
Whoa, 40s.
40s? Whoa. Yep. What do you have left?
Those Mississippi, Alabama.
Okay.
I've never been to Montana or Idaho.
Okay.
I think I still need North Dakota.
But you've been to South Dakota?
I've been to South Dakota. Yeah.
Nice. Wow. Well done.
Wyoming.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So Allie, what is it that you'd say draws you to Sarah?
What draws me to Sarah is that she's a really good person. She's very thoughtful. We obviously connect. I don't know. We're on the same page about a lot of things in terms of values and people we hang out with, family. So we have a lot of common core values and a lot of common interests. Like we both love baseball. We both love traveling.
Are we Giants fans in the Bay Area?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Giants fans.
Yes. Wonderful.
And yeah, they're on a hot streak right now, so it feels good because they weren't very good at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
What was I? I don't know. I lost my train of thought, but
I was asking what drew you to Sarah, and you were saying many of the wonderful qualities, shared values, all these things.
Yeah. I also, what drew me to Sarah is that she is, you kind of have to work for her attention, it seems like at first, which isn't true in the end, but I think she's a little bit more introverted and she lets others be louder in moments. Not all the time. She can definitely get loud. But I think that's what drew me to her is there's kind of like a balance because I like to be sometimes the center of attention or get people's attention. So I really noticed that I wanted to get Sarah's attention in the beginning.
Right.
So I would kind of, but not in a way that was over the top. I had to be like sly about it. So that drew me to her.
Yeah.
Challenge.
Wonderful. So Sarah, is this a fitting introduction to you?
Yeah, I don't think I knew what to expect from Allie, but yeah, sounds pretty accurate.
Wonderful. Now, just a brief moment here, if you could offer more context on your love of true crime, because it seems like you felt the need to defend.
Thank you. I was actually thinking about this the other day because when I was growing up, my high school started a forensic science course. And it was right when CSI Las Vegas first came out. So like this sort of obsession has been around for a while. So just kind of wanted to be like, this is not brand new.
Yeah, you're not just hopping on a trend. You're like,
not.
I've been into murder for a long time.
To me, it's not the murder piece; it's the mystery piece. It's the and the psychology piece. Like, why do people do what they do? And the puzzle piece of figuring it out and putting all the evidence pieces together. I'm always very impressed when people can figure it out. So. And the My Favorite Murder is also a comedy podcast, so I know it's a interesting combination, humorous, but I get joy because they are.
What's funny. The thing? Stay sexy and don't get murdered.
Yep. Yep.
Marriage stories need something like that, like stay sexy and don't get divorced. Or something.
Yeah, there you go. Or
that would be two on the nose.
Thing for you, yeah.
we gotta workshop that a little more, I think, but we're on our way. Okay, so Sarah, your turn to introduce Allie.
Okay, this is Allison, and
does she prefer to go by Allison or Allie?
Well, when you get to know her. She is okay if you call her Allie, but she likes introducing herself as Allison and letting you come to the Allie nickname for her.
Okay.
And Allie is a social worker at an elementary school. So she has a big heart and she really cares about people and animals. And one of my favorite things about Allie is that she has a great sense of humor. So she brings a lot of joy into our lives. She loves to laugh. And she's good at laughing at herself, which I feel like I need to take notes on often. Doesn't take things too seriously when I sometimes take things too seriously.
Wonderful. And where's Allie from?
Allie is from Merced, California.
Oh, nice.
Central Valley.
Right. The breadbasket of America.
The gateway to Yosemite.
There you go.
Oh, there we go. And who is in her family?
Allie has one sister and two brothers. She's number 3 in that. And most of the family lives in the Central Valley. So we're the oddballs in the Bay Area, which is kind of fun to have them come visit us, and we're close enough that we can go visit them. And when we go visit them, we get to see a lot of them at the same time.
Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, what are some of Allie's hobbies or interests?
Like Allie mentioned, baseball and sports is a big one.
All Bay Area teams, is that?
Bay Area teams, yeah.
Right.
Except we're getting into the WNBA, and
nice.
Bay Area doesn't have a WNBA team yet. So,
have you adopted a team?
We chose the Las Vegas Aces.
Oh, the best team! Wow,
yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
But that was before they won the championship.
That is true.
Okay, right.
Before. I loved the Seattle Storm, but mostly I loved Sue Bird.
Right. Well, what's
and now
not
that
to
she's
love?
gone, yeah,
Right.
I'm like, I'm fine with the Aces.
Yes, that's awesome. Awesome. Now, I did a little bit of research here again before the pod, and I heard that Allie is into Del Taco. Is that a favored?
I don't think
That's
so.
hilarious.
Sorry. All right. It was either Del Taco or Jack in the Box.
Ooh, neither.
Neither. Okay.
Fact check. We need a fact check that.
My research department is going to be hearing from me after this. All right. Maybe let me try another one. She prefers like gas station coffee to like the upscale coffee joints.
Definitely, she is not a Phil's person.
Okay.
And yeah, just a
what
good
does she not like about some of these, kind of like upper crust coffee shops?
Try hards, just
baristas. No offense, the pretentious baristas.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm down for a solid cup of coffee. Please give me
that's a
every
difference.
day. Yeah.
Now, also, Allie does not share your affinity for podcasts other than the ones that she appears on.
Exactly.
Again, center of attention.
Why doesn't Allie like podcasts from your perspective, Sarah?
I think Allie sometimes has a hard time sitting still like that. I feel like that's why the books, unless they're like really engaging or bringing some like levity and joy. But also you do like Hidden Brain. That's one that you'll listen to. And I feel like that's kind of like the social worker in you, learning different things about yourself and people.
Yeah. I think I've never gotten like super hooked into one.
Right.
And I think that's true. Yeah. Just sitting and listening is hard. Even like if I have it in the background doing like people do laundry or like drive, but I'd rather listen to music 100% rather than a podcast.
Right. What are some of Allie's favorite bands, Sarah?
Allie loves Lady Gaga. I think she's only missed one of her tours.
Oh, wow.
And has won tickets to see her in the past.
Nice.
Yeah, has a tattoo that Lady Gaga also has.
Wow.
Everyone's going to know this now, Allie. Yeah. And she also loves the band Churches. What is it? Scottish punk?
Indie pop.
Sure. Not punk.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
And you were mentioning a little bit about this earlier, but what is it that you'd say draws you to her?
Yeah, I remember because we were friends before being romantically involved. And I just remember being in large rooms with Allie and feeling drawn to her because she was kind of getting the attention of the people. So hard not to pay attention to her, but she was funny. And yeah, again, just like brought some joy to the group. And her big heart. Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. Allie, is this a fitting introduction to you?
Yeah, she did a way better job, I think. So yes.
I mean, I don't know if we need to compare, these things, but that's great. So just from my research department's feedback here, is there any fast food that you're into, or was that just
I don't
false lead?
Yeah, I don't think fast food's like my jam, but I do have favorites like McDonald's. My parents worked there, so we grew up with that. And then
nice.
In-N-Out, I guess, would be my top two.
Yeah. Hey, California, gotta love it. Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so how did we come to be as a couple? Sarah, you were just talking about this a little bit, that you were kind of, drawn to her in big groups, but how did we come to be?
Well, we met because we both chose to do a volunteer program post-college called the Jesuit Volunteer Corps. And we were placed in the same region. They do it a little differently now, but Allie was placed in San Diego and I was placed in Sacramento.
Okay.
And there were maybe a dozen houses or so around California and Arizona. And those houses, as groups of people, 80 to 100 people, we would get together for retreats. And each of the houses in the region would host a party throughout the year. And so we'd be motivated to go hang out with each other.
Right.
Allie's house hosted the Halloween party that year. My house hosted the 4th of July party, which we turned into a fake wedding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like
so
an American themed wedding, or just,
I think the bridesmaids wore blue, but
oh, wow.
thrift store shopping, blue dresses.
I wasn't at that one. I didn't go to that one.
Yeah.
But
So when was this that we met, though?
2009.
Okay.
how many years
All
ago
right.
was that now? 13? I'm bad at math.
Yeah, 14.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Sarah was off limits at that time, so we had to be friends, but it wasn't, that wasn't on the radar. So, but yeah. And then fast forward, after the program was over, we kind of kept in touch through mutual friends. I remember going on like 1 or 2 trips where I saw you. And then I officially moved back to San Francisco about 8 years ago for my master's program. And then we reconnected because a lot of mutual friends from the program and just friends in general, I guess, were up here. And that, so we kept seeing each other. And then after a while, it was kind of like, I think I like Sarah. And I was like, that's weird. Because I was always skeptical of people who were like, we were just friends first. And I'm like, if you were just friends first, is it like forced? How does that work?
Oh, I
So
see.
then it all made sense to me.
Right.
That we were now in a place and time where, this might work. So
we had this like kind of acquaintanceship, friendship for a while through JVC. And then, once we were both back in the Bay Area, then Allie, you were noticing these feelings. What was going on with you, Sarah?
Yeah, a lot. I've had a long journey with being okay with my sexuality, and I was still, it's a forever journey, but I was still in maybe some of the messier stages of it, and wasn't really looking for a serious relationship. Also, because we had been friends, and it was in this like friend group that I really respected and valued. I think I was a little hesitant to have anything, to just to do a casual try of anything, because pressure to make it work and have it be amazing. If it doesn't work out, then you're the one that screwed up the friend group. So.
That's always a fascinating place to be, where we're like, we are friends, we have a great friendship, perhaps we're in this circle of friends, and we know if we kind of break this seal, there's no going backwards, right? There's no way that we can kind of put the toothpaste back in the tube. So who squeezed the toothpaste?
Allie did. And I have to say, our friends are incredible, and they never put that pressure on us at all. I put that pressure on me, I would say.
Yeah, I was just thinking that because even in the beginning, there was a stop and go, and our friends just dealt with it. And it was more our thing when we were hanging out, that, this feels awkward or weird, or I want to talk to you more. And then everybody else was fine.
Yeah, there were still get-togethers in those start-stop moments, trips to Tahoe, and we made it work.
But back to, I pursued Sarah. I'm very proud of this.
Okay.
I put in the work. There was feelings. I felt like, I had to test the waters. Was it there? Was it not? So after a couple hangouts, there was one night where, that's where it happened. We were just hanging out with with one of your friends, and then I was like, I got to make a move, and it worked. But then after that, it was because Sarah was in a place that was different than me. It was a little messy for like maybe like year and a half before it got better.
Right. Before it felt like we're on solid ground as a couple, and that's a story, most people have as they, are starting out. And you're saying your friend group that you were maybe more concerned about, Sarah, how they're going to respond to all this, was very supportive and accepting throughout this time.
Yeah. They were.
So where do we go from there? This was 6 years ago that we started out together, 2017. How did things develop from there?
So naturally, I think we just like kept having so much fun together. I do think one of the things we do really well is planning outings, whether that's, dates to try an oyster or martini place or a baseball game. We have a road trip planned this summer to visit some baseball stadiums.
Oh,
and
nice.
like from start to finish, all like the planning of it all. It brings us a lot of, I keep using the word joy, but it brings us a lot of joy in our lives, to like keep that playfulness and fun and excitement. So we just kept doing those things, and it kept working really well. And go ahead.
Oh yeah. Well, I was also going to say naturally, but there was when we made it official, we had to rebuild or build like a lot of trust because of the off and on and just being kind of messy before. So that beginning part, that took a little bit of having to just make sure that it was solid, because there were times where it was like, okay, we're going to do it. And then it was like, oh, we're back at not being together again.
Right.
So trust first, and then all the other fun things.
Right. What were some of the things maybe early on that were helpful in developing trust? I think that's something, as a therapist, I get asked a lot by couples, like what helps build trust? What for y'all was useful?
Communication was really big. Being able, I think when we were on and off, there was always like this hindrance to fully be myself or ask questions because I didn't want it to be the turn off or the turn away.
Right.
So I felt like that had become easier because I finally was like, okay, if this is real, everything's gonna be out there this time.
Yeah.
And so that was really important. And I did feel a shift. So even if it was like, are you still talking to that person, or are you texting this, are you texting other people, just asking clarifying questions to make sure that it was just between us. So I think that was big.
Yeah. Totally. And for me, that again, I totally agree with the communication, and the way I sort of shifted it was I was, not defensive in some of those conversations. Like I was willing to lean in and be like, okay, this is for the greater good of the relationship. And even though it may not feel the best, I knew what was real and what I wanted. So
yeah, that's wonderful. And that's that kind of like tipping point, like you're describing, Allie, where it's like, we have to decide, is this going to be something that's kind of seaworthy or not, right? Are we really going to go for this? And if we are, it's worth, taking some risks and being a little more open and seeing how that goes, right? And it seems like clearly that really helped build a lot of trust for us. And now we've been married for a year and a half now. Now I'd imagine COVID might have impacted our wedding journey like it did for many people over these last couple of years. What was that like for y'all?
We got engaged December of 2019. And
the before times.
The before times, yeah. very lucky that we were already living together and just on our own. So, yeah, but I remember, like signing for the venue 1 month before everything shut down, and sort of like all of those spring 2020 weddings being like, oh my gosh. And we had our wedding in January. So we're like, there's time, it'll be fine.
Your wedding was going to be in January of 2021?
Correct.
Oh, yeah, right. I remember that, era where it was just like, oh, yeah, by July, we should be totally good. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, but then we made the call in September to push our wedding back a year. So
Okay.
we knew some people who were like waiting until more closer to the date, like September to December and January. You're not really sure what's happening. You know, we were, was it the Delta wave at that time? You know, like,
oh my gosh, the memories, they're flooding back.
Yeah, all that stuff. But we knew we didn't want it to be a quote unquote COVID wedding where we were Zooming people in, or that people who were, you know, had to travel a little bit wouldn't be able to come. So,
I also remember the anxiety of the big deposit we had put down and not really getting a straightforward answer from the venue of, can we push this back? And we were like, these are things we don't want. This is a lot of money. And that was lingering. So it was a huge relief when finally they had said, yes, you can push it back. And, you know, everything, there's no extra fees or anything like that. That was stressful.
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge thing for so many couples. And you know, for a lot of couples that I was working with back then, there was kind of a renewed focus on, are we ready to do this, right? You know, are we really ready to kind of like take this step in our relationship? And it doesn't sound like that was particularly what was going on in y'all's relationship. It was more practically, we want to be able to do this the way we want to do it. But so did you delay it essentially indefinitely at that point, or what happened next?
We really loved the date of January 1st.
And what about that do we love?
Well, I love numbers, and I really wanted my wedding date, the anniversary, to have a nice ring to it. So 1/1/21 sounded really nice to me.
It does sound nice.
And Allie also liked it. And then just kind of thinking about it more, like New Year's Day, people are happy. People have renewed hope and excitement for what's to come. And so thought that would be like pretty cool to have a party that day and celebrate us and new beginnings. So when we wanted to push it back, we wanted to keep the January 1st date. So it became 1122, which is also an okay date.
Nice. I like that. I like how we changed the pronunciation. Wonderful. And so that was the date that it happened.
Correct.
Nice. Wonderful. So what was the day itself like after, you know, waiting a year?
Well, 2 months before, a variant came out. And so everybody's
Omicron. That was
I think it was that one, and everybody shook again. And so we had a couple of people were dropping like flies, but in the end, we got a good number. But that was also a disheartening, like stressful moment where I think vaccinations had.
Because
so that helped.
We were requiring people to be vaccinated.
That's right. That's right. So I felt good with people being vaccinated, masking up, but you know, everybody's comfort level was different. So that was a curveball. However, the number ended up being really good. The day was really, really fun. Everything we wanted turned out just as we had planned, because we're big planners. That's another thing about us.
That does seem to be a strength of ours as a couple.
So we had the spreadsheets and the this and that going, and we were constantly just adjusting and really putting a lot of energy, making sure that our guests had fun. That was, you know, we were taking a lot of things from weddings we've been to. And one of the major things is we want to focus on us, but we also want this to be a big party for everyone. And sometimes you can really feel that at weddings, and other times you're kind of like, was fine. So it was great. We look back on it and all the videos, and it nothing but good thoughts, good memories.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Would it have been, if you had to push it back another year, would it have been 0123? What would we have done for that? That's just not as, doesn't work as well.
Good, right?
Yeah, it had to be 1122.
Yeah, and even like thinking about like, it wasn't the worst thing to be engaged for a little bit longer, you know,
right?
just
Especially
like
during that time, right? It's
during that time,
kind
it
of
like
bizarre
solidified
time.
some stuff for us, and but to think about doing it for a whole nother year would have been like, okay, we're pretty ready,
Right? Yeah. So, what do you feel like is up next for y'all? What are you excited about? You know, you're big planners. You love to think about the future here. Now that you're married, what's next?
Well, what was next was our honeymoon, and that was a big trip for us. We went to Bora Bora, so that
was nice.
Once in a lifetime. But up next is we're trying to. This is actually up next. We're trying to check off all the baseball stadiums in the country.
Oh yeah, right.
So every summer we have this plan. So up next is our summer trip. We're going to hit up 5 stadiums.
Where are we going?
This summer we're going to Cleveland, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Detroit.
Okay.
So it's a big one. And then,
have we been to Seattle yet? Safeco?
Yes, we actually.
Or not Safeco, T-Mobile.
Yeah, we love it.
Nice.
I'd say it's in our top 10.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Nice.
And then figuring out family stuff, what we want for us, how we want to build on the family that we have.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a dog, so dogs I consider them family. So we might look into getting another dog, but then it brings up what we've been working on for a long time. We started in COVID, went to a bunch of trainings and looking into fostering to adopt. Which is we're learning as we go because we don't really know anyone close to us who's done this before. So learning all of what it entails and the logistics of it, and I don't know what else.
So this has been a journey that we've been on, that we've been doing trainings and all that, wanting to foster to adopt to expand our family.
Yeah, we knew it would take a little bit of time, so we actually started the process when we were engaged. And we sort of completed the process right when we were getting married. And then we, so much of it is out of your control as a couple. And the timeline is one of those things. But when we got married, we were like, you know what, we'd like to be married for a little bit before kind of moving on. So that felt nice to have a little bit of control back and in the process. And so now it's a year and a half, and we're just sort of trying to figure out if that makes sense for us as a couple.
What draws us to this as a way of expanding our family?
Lesbian couples have more limited options. Neither of us want to carry a child. So that's sort of the biggest thing. This was the option that felt the best to us. With Allie's social work background, I feel like the foster care kind of brought that in. We both feel like we, have a lot of love to share, and there's a lot of kids who could use some love. And wouldn't it be great if we could figure out a match to make that work together?
Totally.
So.
Yeah, I feel fully confident that it doesn't need to be a biological child in order for us to feel like it is part of, like they are part of our family. I just know that it would feel right. And now we're working on, okay, when is the moment for us gonna feel right? Because we do have a say in, okay, we have all the paperwork done, but we're still gonna pause it for a little bit. And we keep kind of doing that because we have, first it was the wedding. Then it was like, oh, well, we have the honeymoon, so let's keep pushing it back. And now it's like, oh, maybe after this summer. So I'm in a place where I never really thought I'd be, where I've always wanted kids, and now the longer we push it off, I'm kind of like, it also feels nice not to have kids. So I go back and forth, and it's it's just different. I've never really been in that space before. There's just
abstractly you've been excited about kids, and then as you're now kind of up against it and you have a good shot at starting this, there is a bit of like, whoa, this is going to be a whole change, right?
Yeah, growing up, I remember someone in high school being like, what do you think you're going to do when you grow up? And I was like, well, I'm going to be a mom. Like that. I really that was my answer. So also similar, always kind of pictured that would be my path in life. We have some nieces and a nephew, and we love auntie life. It is so fun to come in, rile them up, like we're the favorites. It's the best. And then we go home and we take naps. And
you go to ballparks in the summertime,
exactly.
Right. So we're kind of waiting for the right time for us. And what do you think how do you think you're going to know?
I think you summarized it a good way the other day. And Sarah was saying that we owe it to ourselves, and I would say, and to kids out there, to get to a place where we go through the process. And part of the process is you get a phone call. And that phone call can be yes, I would like to be put into the next round of families to potentially get this child, or you can say no. So I think we want to, and I want to get to the point where we start getting the phone calls of, this is a potential child that needs a placement. Is this something that would work for you? So the next step is seeing what those phone calls feel like. And if it feels good, if it feels like the right time and something we can handle or are ready for, it's just going to be a feeling.
But we're kind of wanting to open that door for ourselves and just see how that feels, and see what it's going to be like to start getting those opportunities.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, I think any kiddo is going to be very lucky to have y'all as parents. It'll be an exciting moment when that does happen. And maybe we'll follow up here on you'd be the part 2 of Sarah and Allie.
It'll need to be 5 minutes long.
During nap time, right? So if you were going to say there's a title to your story here as a couple, what would it be?
Oh no, I don't. Right away I want to throw in some like sports analogy.
Okay.
It was my New Year's resolution. A league of our own. A league of our own. That's really good.
A marriage of our own.
Good job.
That's just right off that's just the kind of stuff you get from Allie, it seems like.
Exactly.
Incredible work.
Genius over here. Yeah.
Yes. A league of our own. I feel like print it. That's it. It's been a pleasure having you all on the pod, and I'm very excited to hear what comes next for y'all. And I think it'd be wonderful to revisit your story here as your family expands, and as we have new experiences, we learn more about ourselves. What's the next park that we're most excited to see as a couple?
I would say St. Louis, just because the arch. I think it'll be cool to see that area. Right. So I'm going to say St. Louis is the next exciting of the 5.
I'm excited to visit the city of Detroit. I've heard really good things. And so I'm kind of excited about Detroit.
All right. Well, Here's to you, and I hope you have a great time, and looking forward to talking with you again in the future. Thanks for being on the pod.
Thanks. Trevor.
Where goes the time?
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Marriage Stories. As always, I am your host, Trevor White. Production of this episode was done by Gabe Martinez. Music provided by OK Carroll. Our website, where you can find all of our episodes and sign up to receive new episodes direct to your inbox, is launchtoland.com. Once again, that's launchtoland.com. Feel free to follow along on all of our social media channels at Launch to Land, as well as our YouTube channel. Starting your own marriage story? Head over to launchtoland.com and check out our premarital counseling video series with host and licensed marriage and family therapist Trevor White. This comprehensive series will prepare you to take off in the marriage you want. Listeners can use a special promo code PROLOGUE to get 15% off your first purchase. Once again, that is promo code PROLOGUE to get 15% off your first purchase. Enjoying marriage stories? Please subscribe, like, share, tell a friend, and leave a 5-star review. And as always, be sure to join us next week as we take another marriage story off the shelf.